5, 6. Yeah, that's his own private car. It's not even Mercedes.
Okay, so you drove Carl Ludwigson, famous historian. You drove a couple of these. What did you think?
Well, it's a really amazing look into an earlier time of motoring when the Mercedes, along with other car makers, were trying to figure out what the future was going to be. And these were cars that represented their vision of the future in the early 1930s. It didn't quite work out the way they expected. The future went in a different direction, but you can't blame them for trying. They made some very, very charming cars. And this little 130 here is adorable. It's a sweetheart. They really did a nice job with that.
Broken.
Okay, we have Mike Kuntz, head of Mercedes Classic Center. You guys have so many wonderful cars down there, but here we see some that are very unfamiliar to even collectors and Mercedes aficionados. What do we have here?
They're a group of our favorite cars. We have a number of cars that are from the 1930s. Right behind me, we have a 170H. That's a rear-engine, small passenger car. In the background, we see in the left a 130. That predates the car right behind me. And to the right, a very rare car. Only 5 of them were made. It's a 150 Sport Roadster.
Now, these have rear-mounted engines. This was sort of an experiment at the time for Mercedes.
An experiment to show also that people were thinking about what the future of the automobile would be, what the concept would be. Everything was kind of thrown out the window a little bit, and they played around with new concepts. And interesting to see these water-cooled rear-engine cars showcasing something that we later saw in a Volkswagen, really, in an air-cooled form.
Thanks, Mike. So how do you start this car?
A few basic things. We're going to put it in neutral, so we'll select neutral here on the gear shift. Right, yep.
There,
more.
neutral.
There. So I have a steering column lock right here, so we'll flip that down into driving position. And then we have our ignition key there. Which
one click, right like that?
We'll go, this would be all consumers off.
Yeah.
This would be brake lights and turn signals, and then this would be parking lights.
Okay. And
then main headlights are in that position.
Okay.
Then across the board here, generator light, starter button. We have left and right turn signals here. So our semaphore is really the ones that flip out. Then we have electric fuel pump. We have the center headlamp, which is kind of unique to this car. It has that big center headlamp. We have windshield wipers and dash lights.
So, how do we start it?
So, we have the ignitions pushed in here. We'll turn our fuel pump on.
Yeah.
And then we'll just hit the starter button, and it just starts right up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, in this case you would just stay in fourth, and so now drop it to third and go to neutral, and you're ready to go back into second or first in this case when you start out at the light. Alright. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but not too bad.
Keith Martin, Sports Car Market, newsletter, website, all around media mogul on old cars, and an expert on old cars. You have just driven a bunch of these fabulous rear-engine Mercedes. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a reason this was a dead end for Mercedes. These are cute cars, and they're 75 years old and done a great job making them drive as good as they can drive. But with the motor hanging out the back, you have issues right off the bat. So I love these cars. I like being in them. I'm kind of glad that the day is done and I don't have to grind the gearboxes anymore and look like a total idiot while I'm going down the road.
Is this going into the sports car market fleet? You guys have a fleet of wacky old cars.
Everything we do is wacky. So these cars would fit right in with what we do.
Thank you, Keith Martin.